Welcome into our Friday edition of the In the Money podcast for KeenelandSelect.com. I'm Tom Leach, along with Keeneland's director of Simulcasting, Jim Goodman. We're going to take a look at the Friday feature in the late pick four, and Friday's feature is on the turf. It's fillies and mares 3 and up, going 5.5 furlongs in the Buffalo Trace, Franklin County, and pretty good group, I thought. Not an easy handicapping challenge. Where did you go, Jim?
I thought this was a nice group. It's for $100,000 stakes. It's a really good. I mean, it looks like a grade 2 sometimes. I went to Sweet Cassiopeia in here. I think she does have the class to control. She's got a good tracking spot here in the 2-hole. Magical Moon is the other choice I had, but I really don't like her on the rail. I looked at those horses coming out of the Kentucky Down Ladies Sprint, and Magical Moon just barely got beat at the wire. And I like the DRF comment says loomed large and missed. That's always an optimistic thing when you loom large and miss. So you look at her filly to come back well from that one. I'm going to take Sweet Cassiopeia on top, though, simply because I like the 2-hole a little better than the 1. Rock Oak and Track. BJ's got to let Magical Moon go from the inside. The other horses, hard to separate the 7, Silverette, and the 8, Madame Jerry, who is actually the defending champion of this race. Off our Saratoga form, they came right together. So I'm going to take a stand here in the late pick 4, singling Sweet Cassiopeia. I really like her here.
I'm going to go Silverette. My first pick I made was Sweet Cassiopeia. Then I went back, and Silverette just seems to have blossomed once they put her on the turf. She found her home for Dale Romans, and both races, each the second better than the first, and I think she's still maybe got a little bit of upside left there. So I'm going to tie Silverette, and then I would use Sweet Cassiopeia with her, and also Madame Geary and Malibu Moon. So kind of all the logical ones. Didn't see any big prices in there, and would spread out using some of those in the pick 4. So we'll talk about that now. It starts in the 7th race on Friday of the 10-race card, and first legs on the turf, and there's a horse in there called Nashindi that was really impressive here in the spring that I thought had a bright future, but I ended up going to Run a Risk because I think this horse really likes the Keeneland turf course and runs really well here, so I think that's always a strong angle, so I'm going to use Run a Risk, but I'm really going to spread out. I'm going to take Run a Risk, the 9, the Entry, 1 and 1A, and then the 4, 6, and 7. The 8th race, I'm going to single Sneaky Blowout, who's 7-5 on the morning line. The 9th, I'm going to use Silverette, Sweet Cassiopeia, and Malibu Moon. And then in the 10th, Trendsetter's the one I like off the class drop, but I'll also use the 5 and 11. So that would be 5 by 1 by 3 by 3. What about you?
Structured a little bit differently. I like a lot of the same horses. In the first leg, the Entry is not very often that you get Graham Motion and Jonathan Shepard. I can't say Jonathan today. Jonathan Shepard, 2 for 1, but you've got Nashindi and Ski Holiday as the Entry. I used the Entry. I used Lily the Pink, Dame Marie, and took a flyer on Bodacious Barb at 30-1.
Ooh.
Pablo Morales from Presque Isle comes down and rides this horse. I think the Gulfstream turf form, if you go back 5 or 6 races in her races, she's got a shot at 30-1. So I'm going to take a flyer in the first leg with 1, 4, 6, 10. In the second leg, I like the outside horse. I think To the Stars, Sneaky Blowout was your single, but To the Stars' best race was 7 furlongs on Polly at Keeneland in April, so she couldn't win at Canterbury, but I think that perhaps he might like Keeneland better. The other one you got to throw in there, how can you not throw in Fight the Tide on Steve Blue Day? I cannot believe that the voice of the Wildcats would not use a horse called Fight the Tide.
Well, you know who's in earlier in the card? Jorts.
Jorts, that's right, the basketball, yeah. But Fight the Tide is just a natural for me on Friday. So yeah. I went 6, 11, 12 in that leg. Singling the 2, Sweet Cassiopeia, in the 9th, and then depending on how much money you've got, you can take all for $72. If you want to cut down, Trendsetter is the favorite. Then I use Twill, Life at Sea, the firster for working well for his debut, Smile Daddy, and Magtone, so the 12. So as many as you used in the last leg. I would go single the 2 with all for $72. That's not too bad a trip. And if you catch Fight the Tide and you catch my Presque Isle horse early, you'll have a great weekend.
And I guarantee you, with all the Alabama fans that are going to be there on Friday, whatever price Fight the Tide is on the morning line, I can't remember, but you're not going to get it. It's going to be lower.
That's right.
All the hunch players. All right, best of luck to everybody on the Friday card, and we'll be back with our typical Saturday podcast, looking at stakes races around the country, too. This is the In the Money podcast for KeenelandSelect.com.